Hello, 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 and welcome to At All Hours. I'm your host, Greg Ramirez, and this is episode number 2. So, the last episode, there was a lot of things that I complained about. I feel like there was a lot of complaining in general, which, I mean, whatever, right? Like that's kind of like why you listen to anything. Like, what is this guy about? You know. But it's not going to be every episode where I'm just complaining about stuff. But, I mean, having said that, I do have some complaints as well today. Okay, some gripes that I have with certain things. I've been using that word a lot lately, gripes. I don't know if any of you guys ever do that where it's like there's like a word you're like, I'm like really into this word lately. And then people like point it out and they're like, since when did you start saying that? You're just like, I don't know. I've always been like this. I've just always been this dude. I've always been that dude. And then they're like, no, you're not. And then you're like, okay, well, that's fine. Anyway, so I have some complaints about a few things because I see them pretty regularly. Brimless hats. Don't get it. The thing is, too, it's a weird thing because, like, I feel like I see it often enough to be upset about it, but not often enough to like really be upset, like to like look into it, I guess. I work at a thrift store. I was supervisor at Savers. Maybe I'll take that out. Maybe I'll censor that. I'm a supervisor at a job at a place that exists somewhere. And there's a guy who comes in pretty regularly who wears like it's like, I don't know how to describe it, but like in case you don't know what I'm talking about, but it's like a baseball hat, but there's just no brim on it. For his, it has like a little flap that like kind of flips up and it has like buttons, but it looks like almost like a sailor's beanie type thing, but it's not a beanie. It's a hat. But that's the thing. I just don't understand it because, you know, you're wearing, I mean, most of the time, baseball hats, they like shield your eyes. They keep your eyes like, you know, shielded from the sun so you can kind of see, or they keep the sun out of your face. I don't wear hats, but I assume that's what they're for, right? To kind of shield you from the sun in some way. It's like when you're looking out and it's a sunny day and you just kind of like put your hand like straight over your brow ridge. That's what I imagine a hat's for, right? Like a baseball hat. But like with a brimless hat, why is it there? It's like how it's like why wouldn't you just wear like a beanie? Like you wear a beanie, there's no brim on it. You wear it like for warmth, right? Like that's the purpose of it. And then you'd wear like a baseball hat to shield you from the sun. Like that's its purpose, right? But then you wear something that's like shaped or like fashioned to be like essentially like a beanie, but is not a beanie and is just a hat, but is not a hat and is just, it's like a big yarmulke on your head, you know? Don't get it. I see a guy that comes into my job all the time and he wears it. Don't get it. I like, even the thing is though, it's weird because it's like it looks cool, or like I guess it depends on the person. I don't wear hats because I have a big fucking dumb head. And every time I wear a hat, I feel like it just looks odd on me. So, you know, it's just, to me, it's just not for me all the time. I do wear hats on occasion, but not all the time. And there's this guy that comes in who, it looks, you know, wears a brimless hat, looks good on him. Then there's like, I'd gone to see this band Idols. And I went with a couple friends. I went with my girlfriend, my friend Raymond, his girlfriend, my friend Erica. Not that he has a girlfriend and that like Erica is also my friend. It's that his girlfriend is Erica and she's my friend also. Not that it's just like his girlfriend. Anyway, whatever. So we all go and he's wearing like Raymond always wears like dad hats. They look really good on him. He has a little baby head. Average size dude though. Normal, super normal size dude. I would never even think to call him short. I don't think anyone would. So we go to this show and he's wearing like this dad hat, right? And it's like on a regular baseball hat, like a fitted hat, sometimes it's like flat brimmed. He's like the dad hats, they have like the curve to it, right? So he goes into the pit at some point. We're like all in the pit, but he goes in and he's like going hard, and he's gone for a while. I like this. This is one of the few times I'm like, you know what? I've pitted for years. Every show I've been to, I've been at the front. I've been pitting for fucking, oh man, 15 years. Oh God, just thinking about it's getting me exhausted. But I've been pitting for a long time, so now I'm kind of like, I just hang back, have drinks. I'll go in for a song or two, and then whatever. Someone else's time to shine. So Raymond's like really pumped because last time we saw Idols, he went into the pit for the first time. And it was actually the same group of us. It was the four of us again. And that was in San Francisco, which I will talk about that after, I think. But we went to go see Idols, and he got in the pit, came out at some point, and the brim of his hat was like dangling off. Like he got ripped halfway off of his head. Like it looked like a toenail that was like half clipped. It was just kind of hanging on. So he comes up and he's like, what do I do? Well, you rip it off, dude. Like the hat's done. It's dusted, but just take it off, whatever, rip it off. So I grab it and I rip the end with, I asked him if I could do it, and he said yes. I wasn't just like, ooh, and ripped it off. Not that I wouldn't do that, but I asked him. I just want that to be on record. And so I ripped the rest of it off, and it just basically becomes like a brimless hat. But it looks good on him because he's got that tiny little baby head that I mentioned earlier. And it was fine, but it was still like useless. Like now it's useless. It's just purely like an accessory, like a bracelet, a necklace, a necklace. Like I like those are accessories that serve no purpose. It's just like for, the way it looks. Like if you wear rings or if you wear, a brooch, it's purely just aesthetic, right? It's just for look. It serves no purpose. That's what that hat became. But it looked good on him. It was weird. And I just don't understand that. But it's also like there's other things that are kind of like that are clothing that just serve no purpose, but people wear them. But that was the biggest one. That was the biggest thing that I've seen. And being like in a job where I see people dress with like different kinds of styles come through, because I see people who come in who are shopping there because it's supposed to be cheap. It's a thrift store. So it's like they could get decent clothes for way cheaper than going to like Target or Walmart. Unless you're going to the Lakewood store. And everything's a little fucking pricier, according to everyone that ever comes up to me and asks me, why is this so expensive? I thought you were supposed to be a thrift store. Suck a dick. Sorry. Shop somewhere else. You don't have to shop here. I'm not twisting your fucking arm, but I want to shop here. But why is it so expensive? It's because you're fucking poor. Did you ever think about that? Maybe it's not that expensive. Maybe you're poor. Anyway. I see a lot of people come in dressed different ways, people shopping like that. They're looking for cheap clothing. But then I see like a lot of younger people coming in and who are dressed in styles that like I don't understand now because I'm old enough to be like not cool, but not old enough to be like not cool and it be okay. I'm like at a weird in between. Like I'm not accepted by anyone older than me, like people in their 40s plus. They're like, you're 30? Try being 40, right? But then I'm also not accepted by people who are like 20, who are just like, you're definitely old, man. You just don't get it. And I was going to say like, certain slang that's used a lot now, but I think I'm going to just save myself that embarrassment as well. But I see a lot of people come in and then it's like different kinds of styles where people are dressed up in styles that was fashionable when I was a kid. So I see like 18 and 19-year-olds dressed up the way I was dressed when I was like 8 or like 10. Pretty crazy. But then again, when I was a teenager, so like 2007, 2008, something like that. I was like, I don't know, whatever, 15 years ago, 2009. Um, I was, me and a bunch of other kids were dressed like it was the fucking 80s. So people from the 80s were like, why the fuck do you have your hair teased up like that? Why are you wearing like skin tight jeans and, leather straps and shit? That was the 80s. It rolls over, So it's weird being old enough now to see like people who are younger than me wearing shit like baggy jeans or baggy jorts and then like flame shirts, like black button ups with like blue flames on it and like frosted tips and shit. And it's not like it's like cool to fucking dress like that. I'd get my ass kicked dressing like that before, But it's cool. It's good. It's good that you could do whatever you want. It's just crazy that to see it, kind of happen all over again. A lot of my kids, my coworkers, they're also significantly younger than me. So I see the way they dress and I'm like, this is fucking crazy. But yeah, pretty weird getting older. It's something that I'm adjusting to. It's definitely fine. Another weird thing though that's different is like the difference with like interest of partying. It kind of reminds me of like the first time I went to a strip club. Did you guys know that? Oh, some more Greg lore. Oh, I forgot about the idols thing. I guess I'll get back to that after. Just remind me. But the first time I went to a strip club, first of all, spoilers, it doesn't end well. Okay, I think I was young. I think I might have been like, maybe like 20 or 21, somewhere in there. I don't know. I was living with my grandma at the time, so I was like in my very early 20s or like late teens, somewhere in there. So I might have been like 19 or 20. And I remember it was my birthday and all of my friends came together and were like, well, everyone wanted to do something for my birthday. I just wanted to hang out. But it also had come up where it was like, I think we were already drinking or something. And I'm pretty sure it was like a few of my friends, like my close friends now, and then my cousins who I was also hanging out with. And I remember that we wanted to do something kind of like different than, normal, like just like hanging out for like a birthday. So everyone put their money together to give me a gift. And that gift was to go to a strip club on my own, which I'm not big on as like an idea. It just kind of like strip clubs just not like my thing. I never had any interest in going to like a strip club or anything like that. But they wanted to do something. They're like, "Oh, we should all go to a strip club." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, like that. Okay, let's do it. Fuck yeah!" And because there was I think like a sizable group of us. And then I think we like looked it up or something, or we all went and then realized there was like a $20 cover charge or something. I don't even remember. It was fucking like 11 years ago now. And we all went and there was a cover charge you have to pay. I don't know if you know that. When you go to a strip club, you have to pay to get in. You can't just mosey on in and fucking do whatever. I mean, at least the one I went to, this is in LA, so I don't like the outskirts of LA. It was in LA enough. It was like, I think it was like Spearmint Rhino. I think that's what it was. I don't know. But it was a strip club. And, there's like a cover fee, and then we realize we're all broke. Because we kind of just thought like, oh, let's go to a strip club. It'd be kind of funny and go and look at some tits for free. Not so. Tits don't come free. Okay. So we realized that, and then it was like, well, we'll put our money together because we're all broke. We're super broke. We'll all put our money together to get you in to go. And I was like less pumped about that idea. So I was like, okay. So they give me the money, and it's like I have enough to get in, and then maybe pay for like a girl to hold my hand. Maybe that's how much extra money I had left over. Not a lot, right? There's also like a Tuesday or something because my birthday always lands like in the middle of the week. So it was like a Tuesday or a Wednesday when I was going. So I go and I remember like having the money. I have like just like loose crumbled cash in my pocket. I was also still like this like, disheveled looking street punk rat and going up to this like pretty nice strip club and then walking up, and as I'm walking up I see like bouncers outside, these two big dudes in like suits and shit, right? And then I'm like I'm wearing like skin tight like black jeans that are fucked up Vans, probably a band shirt. And as I go up, the doors swing open like, outward, and these like three or four like drunk like frat dudes come out, like pink polo shirts, like this kind of like Easter colors, polo shirts, shorts, boat shoes, big like greased back hair. They're like hammered, right? They come out, and I just get like a big whiff of like the strip club, and it just smells like cologne and perfume and fish. And I was just like, I don't think this is like my thing. And turned around and I went back, and they were like, what the fuck? Like, I thought you were going to go in. And I was like, I don't think I want to do this. I don't want to do this on my own. And I don't think I want to do this like tonight or at all in general. So we went and we just spent it all on booze, and we all got fucked up together. But it also makes me think like now, like at the time it seemed cool because I was younger. Now it's like I don't really have any interest in that. I'm just like not into like clubbing or like a party scene as much anymore. Like now that I'm older, I'd much prefer to go to like a cool bar, sit down. I've always kind of been like that anyway, but when I was younger, I was more inclined to just be like, yeah, fuck you, let's go do this thing. Let's go party. Let's go to like a club. Let's go to a strip club. Let's go do whatever. Never went, by the way. Sidebar. Never ended up going back to a strip club. Never really had any interest in it, but had gone to like clubs before, more like dance clubs, more like big like thumping music kind of clubs. It's never really my thing, but I was more inclined to do it when I was younger versus now, which I just don't really have any interest in any of that shit. And it's if that's your thing, I feel like if you're like into clubbing when you're in your 20s, you're like into it, that's kind of your whole thing. It's like going to EDC and shit. Like I never got into EDC. I love like dance music, club music, and all that kind of shit. I love all that. I just don't like that like festival scene. I don't like EDC. It's so fucking like it like I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm like a hater and I'm like on the outside looking in. But it's kind of weird to me when people are like EDC family and they go around exchanging beads and shit. Fuck all that. I'm not going to that gay shit. But whatever, right? Okay. So when you're younger, you like want to party more and you kind of get it out. You get all your wiggles out. And then you get older and you kind of, you figure out if you're into that or you're not into that. That's kind of where I was. And I just kind of like tapered off. And I'm like not really gelling with that anymore. I prefer to go to like a bar or just be home, have friends come over, get fucked up at the crack house, and that's it. That's way more of a better time to me than like going to a big club or going out like clubbing. I'd rather go bar hopping. That's cool, but clubbing, not really my thing. But to go back to like strip clubs, the thought of going to a strip club on my own was like really strange to me. It just seems like it's kind of like a catch-22 because I feel like you want to go to a strip club by yourself, right? Because it's like you don't want to be around a bunch of people when you're like looking at tits and ass and vagina or what. I don't know what happened. I don't know what they show in there. I heard there's like topless bars only where it's just topless, and then there's like bottomless bars, bottomless mimosas. Fuck if I know. I don't know. But it's like I usually see people going like in a group, which makes more sense to me. You'd go like to like a social outing, like it's kind of like not so serious. Like let's go just look at some tits, But I don't want to do that with like it's like having a party. It's like imagine if you're here with like you're at your house and you have like some friends over, right? And you guys are like having drinks and this and that, and you guys are having a good time. And then someone's like, we should put on porn on the big TV, right? In the front. And you're like, but we're listening to music. Like, I have my fucking playlist up, right? We're listening to lo-fi hip hop on the fucking big screen. And you're saying we should watch porn. They're like, yeah. And you know, throw up your favorite porn star, or just like maybe, you know, pick a random video, and you guys all just kind of like keep drinking and watching it. You know, I think it's funny for like a second or two, like a minute maybe. You're like, it's fucking porn. That's crazy, right? But it's like, imagine if you all just like sat together, like as if you put on a movie, you know, and you watched a full like hour-long porno together, and you all just sat down and kept drinking, you know, on occasion interact with each other, but you just have like you're actively watching a porn together. That's kind of fucking weird. That's the way it feels when I think about people going to like a strip club together. You know, it just kind of feels like it's something that you want to do by yourself because you're going to go do that. It's like masturbating and watching porn. It's more fun with other people, but more often than not, you're doing it by yourself. You don't need to watch porn if you're masturbating in front of someone, as long as they're okay with it, you know? But that's the thing. It's like you would go and do this thing on your own is what I would assume, but it's usually not the case. So I don't know. That never really like clicked with me, and I never really got it. I never understood why people go by themselves, because it seems like kind of like a camaraderie thing. But then at the same time, I don't understand why people go in a group, because it seems like a very personal thing. But I mean, whatever, right? Who cares? Whatever, forever. To each their own. I have a friend who went to a strip club on his own, and he got like a dance from a girl and talked to her, and it was cool. It was during the day. It was kind of crazy, you know, but I feel like that's a little more like, it makes more sense to me. If someone's like, oh, I go to the strip club from time to time. Cool. You know, it's like saying like, oh, I, you know, watch porn by myself. Cool. It's definitely weirder to me to think of someone going like, oh, me and my buds, we all go to strip club. Okay. It's kind of gay, but whatever. I don't know. It's like, I guess maybe now that I'm getting older, like I said, it's just strange to me that people have these kind of preferences. It's like doing drugs too. Same thing with doing drugs. Like as you get older, you're kind of like, I either like got to experiment with some stuff that I like, and that was it, or I tried something and was like, this is the one. This is like the thing that makes me feel normal now, or it ruined my life, which, you know, what's the difference? Because like for me, I've tried nothing. I've done nothing in my life. I've done nothing wrong in my life. I've done no illicit substances at all, to the point where I don't even need to make a list. But if I did make a list, hypothetically, purely, there would be a few things on there that are illicit, that aren't just alcohol and cannabinoids. Okay? But it's purely hypothetical. If I made that list, it would be pretty extensive. But that's the thing. Now that I'm older, I realize like I really enjoy drinking alcohol. Wow. Are you new here? Did you not know that? Yes, I drink alcohol pretty all the time. Pretty all the time. All the time. Pretty much all the time. Has it ruined my life? Not yet. But I'm not counting it out. You know, I just don't want to like assume anything. I don't want to like make any like, I don't want to jump to any conclusions, whatever. Smoking weed, eating weed, fucking drinking weed, eating candy weed, like whatever. There's so much types of weed and so many ways to get it into your body and into your brain to freak you out. It's rad. You know, you kind of see those things like from when you were younger to now that you're older, and you're like, these are the things that I enjoy still, and it's not like ruining my life. It's not crippling me. But one of the things that I always see is a little thing called cocaine. Huge mic drop, you know? Cocaine and cocaine accessories. It's weird that there is like cocaine. I just saw an ad. This is insane. Oh, I forgot about you just didn't remind me about the idols thing. I'll get back to it after. So just remind me again, like this time really remind me, because I'm going to forget, and this episode's going to end at some point and you're not going to fucking ever find out. If you don't remind me this time, I'm not going to fucking tell you. I'm sick of like having to do this with both of us. Like it's a two-way street, man. Like you got to fucking tell me. Okay, so anyway, I was on Instagram, right? I don't have TikTok because I'm not 60 or 20. And like I was on Instagram and I got like, there's like ads that will pop up, like sponsored posts and shit, which is, they're sometimes insane, but you get like sponsored posts for like certain things that you're usually looking at. Like it builds an algorithm for not only like posts that you're interested in, but like things for you to buy, right? So I had come across something that got suggested to me. Shout out to them too, if they are listening. If someone is listening to this and wants to sponsor my my podcast, that would be fucking awesome. But this is not sponsored. This is just talking about this, but just because it's pretty rad, but fucking insane. I got an ad for a energy supplement, right? An energy supplement that is a pretty compact, easy to use, easy to understand energy supplement. It's kind of like, you could get like pre-workout and it's like in a powder. You just kind of mix it into water, you drink it, put it in your smoothie, put it up your butt, whatever, right? It's a powder and you just put it into your body, right? But this particular energy supplement, which I have in my hand right now, is called Want a Bump. Want a Bump? And you only ever hear that if you're at a party, you're hanging out with friends, if it's 3 a.m. and there's still a half a bottle of liquor and 14 beers left and everyone's trashed. Want a bump? You know what the fuck's up, right? Everyone's got keys on them. Pick your favorite one, right? So this, it comes in a little jar, maybe like an inch and a quarter, small jar, and it has just it's like a clear glass jar. It has a black cap, and inside is filled with a white powder, and it's called Want a Bump, and it is awesome. And it's just like, I think the whole jar is like 1,000 milligrams of caffeine, right? So if you do the whole jar, probably not good. Not recommended for sure, but not good. But if you do a couple bumps, put it on your hand, knock it out, put it on your keys, whatever, it is like an immediate boost of energy because it goes straight into your nose, into your blood. You just digest it, right? And it's just caffeine. It's straight caffeine. And it also kind of reacts the same way. Like it gives you like a weird little like nose drip, at least from what I've heard from people doing illicit substances. So it's kind of weirdly like similar, and it looks exactly like it. It kind of reacts a lot like it. And it's also gives you great energy and you feel fucking awesome. And it's just like, I don't know, something I came across, and I was like, when I saw it, I just thought it was like a joke, or like a satire page, because it is genuinely insane to look at when you have it. It comes with like a label on the actual little glass bottle that you get. I don't know if it's glass. Yeah, I think it's glass. It comes with oh no, I think it's plastic. I'm stupid. It comes with the like label on it, but you can peel the label off, and it's just like an unmarked little bottle with white powder in it. Insane. And I have a friend who I will not mention their name, who is loves cocaine and hasn't done it in a long time. Didn't know that when I showed him this, and he was pumped into it. He was super into it. I gave him one of the little jars, and I had to warn him and tell him, like, hey, there's enough caffeine in there to stop your heart if you do it. So slow it down. He's like, oh shit, okay, I'll do that. But it's pretty crazy to come across it, and it's also pretty rad. Like it's a cool product. It's easy to use, if you know what I mean. And I don't know. It was just a random Instagram ad, right? But after that, because I went through it on Instagram. I didn't buy it through Instagram. Like I had the app open and press the little thing and it brings up like the browser and you go to their website. I exited out and I opened up like my actual browser on my phone, went to their website and bought it. But obviously Instagram still like recognized that like it showed me something that was sponsored. I opened it. So then it's like, oh, well, maybe he likes other cocaine or drug related things. So some time had passed. First of all, I bought like 6 of these little want a bump. I spent like $40 on it or some shit. And some time passed since I got them. I've just had them. And I have like a few fucking stickers and shit everywhere. So, eventually I got another sponsored post, like a recommended post or whatever. And it was for something else that looked like, hey, this I'm not trying to get sponsored for, so don't even fucking think about it, okay? It's a product called Slip. They're also not sponsoring this, which they wouldn't, and they're not going to now. I mean, unless they do want to sponsor me, then hey, I love your product or whatever, who cares? But basically, it's like it looked like a little metal, like tube, almost like a little, like tampon injector. I honestly don't know how tampons work, but they have like a little plastic shell on it, and then I'm guessing you projectile, like there's a little like string on the end of it. You pull the string and it shoots the tampon up in there like a firework or like a bottle rocket. Or those little like when there's like when it's like New Year's and you have those little plastic things that has a little tampon string on it, and you pull the tampon string, confetti shoots out of it. That's what I imagine it is, but instead of confetti, it's the tampon that shoots up inside the monkey hole. So anyway, it looks kind of like that. It's like a little metal tube thing that's shaped phallically in a sense, and it has like a little flavor injector at the end where you kind of push it forward, I think. I just saw the ads. I didn't buy the fucking thing. But think about it that way. Instead of a string, it's like a little plunger, and you can kind of hold it kind of like a big like syringe. And at the end, like when you push it, a little like spoon comes out. And I think that's it. But I think it opens up and it shows like that it's like it slips back in, and it's like in that little like phallic thing that it usually holds in. It looks like it has little holes on it. So maybe you could like scoop it up and you just like load it with whatever sort of powdery substance you would prefer. Load it up on there and you retract it and it stays inside, and it has the little holes to dispense it. So you can just kind of put it into your nose and put it aside. So you don't have to actually bring it out every time. It's just kind of like dispenses it like that. Pretty crazy though. I didn't know that it was like something that gets like put out now is just these like chic. They have it like in silver and gold and shit, like to match your style, and it's just crazy to me that like they're selling like high-end versions of things and just putting them out as like there's nothing. I mean, you could put whatever you'd want in here. It's not for anything really, but I mean, if you wanted to put, I don't know, like a powder in here, you could put a powder in here, and then if you're trying to be like sneaky, you could just kind of sneak some of it into whatever hole you wanted to put it in. Like it doesn't have to be anything in particular. It's just kind of it's kind of like when where it's like if you go to like a smoke shop and then you try to buy like a bong, like it's a big water pipe. It's not a bong. Bongs are for weed. I'm like, what do you think I'm going to use this fucking thing for? And he's like, tobacco. I'm like, yep, tobacco. That's right. Here's $40. It's like that. Like bongs are sold as like water pipes or tobacco pipes and shit. And it's like the same thing with this thing, with Slip. It's just it's weird to like try to sell something that's so obviously for a certain drug, like it's for doing coke or like doing some sort of powder drug that you sniff, but it's never explicitly like said. They just like it'll show like someone doing it and then them like touching their nose after, or like not putting it to their nose but just showing the product, showing how it works, and then someone afterwards in a separate cut just touching their nose and kind of rubbing, and it's kind of like I could put it together. I get it. I know what it is, but it's like they can't say what it's for. Just kind of a weird thing to come across. I didn't even know that that was a thing that people were doing still. Or that people were doing at all, not even still, just people were doing at all, is making like these high-end versions of things just to do coke. If you're going to be a piece of shit and do a bunch of coke, just fucking do it. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. Just know that you're probably gross. You're probably gross. Which is fine, Someone's got to do it. Someone's got to be gross. But I have a few other things I want to talk about. Oh, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. The idols thing. Oh, see, if you hadn't brought it up right now, genuinely, I would have found you and broke into your house and then shown up the next day and so that way they could see that in a really horrifying way, and then they would have to just witness that. I'm going to go ahead and censor all of that and cut all of that out. The Idols show. This was, I want to say like 2 years ago. And it was I think they were touring just kind of like the West Coast. Idols, by the way, super awesome punk band from England. And I got into them like years ago. I don't remember now. Millions and billions of years ago, I got into them, and they're super fucking sick. And I showed them to my friends, showed them to my girlfriend, and everyone loved them. They're awesome, awesome band. And they were touring, so we were like, okay, well, let's go see them. But they were also touring in San Fran at one point, so we thought, let's make it like a road trip. We'll all road trip up there, meet up, maybe get fucked up, go see the band, go eat in the morning, head back home, right? Just a single turnaround trip. So I looked in the area. I don't know San Francisco at all. I've only ever basically passed through it to get to other places. So I'm not really familiar with San Fran at all, or the areas of San Fran. It's like LA, you kind of know certain streets. You kind of know like, oh, we got to expect this, or this is what's going to be here, or this is this area, But San Fran's completely different to me, so I have no idea. So we go, and it's at this place called the Warfield. And the area is like not too, I think it's a little better. It's a little nicer, but not too different from like Skid Row or like downtown area near Skid Row, where it's just kind of like one street looks really nice and the next block over is fucking Skid Row, where it's just a bunch of homeless people and crazy people screaming at each other. And it's pretty insane. So it was maybe like a couple blocks away from there. And where I got a hotel for me and Andy, my girlfriend, and Raymond and Erica got another hotel somewhere else, a little further up. And it was like, I remember theirs was like pretty expensive. And I was like, we didn't have that much money. We're like, look, it's not going to be, we're not staying there for a long time. We're really just getting there, unpacking our shit. We're drinking in the room and going straight to the show. Coming back, we're going to sleep, and we're leaving early in the morning. Like, we're not staying at the hotel. Who gives a shit about the hotel? So that's the thought anyway, right? So we get there, long drive to San Fran, get there, and then try to find, first of all, our hotel does not offer parking. It's like I said, it's like a city areas. It's like downtown LA. I mean, I'm assuming most of you that are listening are from LA like me, but like anyone who's not from LA, it's just a busy city. It's a dense, like downtown area of a city. and there's no parking. They don't have like their own parking structure or anything like that. It's basically a fucking just like part of a big structure of buildings. So we have to go park like a few blocks away and pay for like overnight parking. It's not bad, but it's just like annoying. And we walk over, go up, and it's like that's when we see the street that we're on. We're like, oh, this is like super filthy everywhere. There's homeless people and crazy people screaming in the streets. We're like right next to a liquor store and like a pizza place, and it's like just dingy as fuck where we're at. So, which for me is not a big deal, but I'm also with Andy, and I just, it's just like a bad, whatever, bad setup. But we're not going to be there all night. So we go to the hotel, and when we go up, there's like other homeless people inside the hotel, like wandering around. And when we go up, we realize there's like weekly rates and monthly rates. And there's a guy with like his girlfriend, and he's eating like a cup of noodles, and he's like talking to the person who owns the place. And I guess they kind of live there. And it's like the place that we went to, it was like $80 for the night. So I was like, this is a fucking score. It's like 2 blocks from the venue. Perfect. And I've come to find out that the reason it's only $80 is because it is a shithole, and it's where homeless people go to save money to like live there and just kind of go off monthly rates. And so when we go up, we're trying to check in, and there's like homeless people like around us, just kind of like, hey, what's up? And we're like, hey, what's up? And it's like they're just hanging out in there. So we check into our room. There is nothing in our room. The room's like setup is pretty cool. It has like a big like window that you can kind of look out into the street. But like it's a very small room, and there's a bed with pillows, 2 pillows, and like a blanket. It's just like the top cover blanket, which is kind of weird. It's like, usually there's like a top cover and then like the comforter underneath and then sheets and shit like in a regular hotel. It's just the top like decorative blanket. That's it. And then there's, usually there's like a cuck chair in the hotels. I think there's one to the side or 2, and it's like very obviously just like a random chair. There's not like, it's not like a office chair or like that kind of like what you think of like a hotel room kind of chair. It's just like a random fucking chair. We have a flat screen that is mounted up on the corner. A sink that is like when you walk in, to the right is the bed. To the left is a door with no handle with just a screw sticking out of it. And a sink that's like in the main like bedroom area, but it's like a bathroom sink. It's not like part of the wall. Usually in hotels it's like built into the wall. It's not. It's like standing sink with like I think a mirror, no soap, no towels, no cuts, no butts, no coconuts. Inside, the shower is like the bathroom. It has a little toilet. The tiling on the wall looks great. It looks brand new, but the door doesn't shut all the way and doesn't have any doorknobs. It just has screws on both sides, like to pull it open or closed. And the ceiling is not completed, where there's like a fan and like no ceiling tiles or anything. It's like an open ceiling. The floor has like concrete and fucked up tiles. It's just like in complete disrepair. And I was like, okay, this is why it was $80. Whatever. It's fine. Let's just get through it. So we just start drinking, getting, fucked up. We leave, we go to the show. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the fit that I was rocking that night, okay? Not anything too surprising, but I just want to be clear. Black Vans or white Vans, I don't remember. It's a bad start to that. White Vans, black tight jeans, a black shirt, and a balaclava. Ski mask for the uneducated. Not that you're uneducated, it's just, well, probably, I don't know. But I have my balaclava rolled up into like a beanie. It just looks like I'm wearing a black beanie. So we go in, and we're like all pumped, right? So all 4 of us are in line now. super pumped. We get into the venue and we start making bets on like what song's going to play first. We're like, okay, if this song plays first, you're going to buy the first round. If this song plays first, I'll buy the first round. Just like, super pumped. We're getting drinks in line and just pounding them. And get in. The openers come on. They're great. Whatever. Who cares? I don't remember. And eventually, through the night, we're having more drinks. We're having a good time. This is Raymond's first pit, right? So he really wants to get in and just fucking go to town. This is not Erica's night. She just doesn't want to go in the pit. This is not Andy's night, but it turns into her night, which I'll get to that. But also, she's not like, I need to go in the pit. She's been in a pit before. We've seen, the first time I think it was when we saw Hail the Sun. Shout out to Hail the Sun. But, yeah, that was the first time that happened. And, so she's not like dying to get into the pit. But Raymond's like adamant about it. So eventually Idols comes on and we go out and they start with a song called Colossus, which has like a really slow build to it and kicks off like in the middle of the song, right? There's like a long pause and it kicks off. So we go in and we're like I'm like pulling him to the front. I'm, significantly bigger than my very normal sized and average friend. And so we go to the front and, we're kind of just like moshing, moving around. And the song gets to that pause and the singer comes up to the front, it's talking to everyone and opens up the pit from the middle to Wall of Death everyone, which if you don't know what that means, look it up. But the short of it is the crowd splits and they all face each other and run at each other and fuck each other up. Fun times. Not my first rodeo, but pretty intense for Raymond's first rodeo. So we go in and we Wall of Death happens and we're just going super hard. Eventually I get split up from Raymond pretty quick and I'm like, whatever, fuck him. He'll survive. He just needs to stay in the pit and just go hard. So I'm going around pitting. I pull down my balaclava and like, this is a robbery. Everyone get on the ground. I'm just kidding. It's not like it would have mattered. Like anyone would have fucking heard me. But I pull down my ski mask and I'm like jumping around, going all hard. And then pretty early on, it was either I think it was the first or second song. If you've ever worn Vans in your entire life, they're super easy to just kind of kick off. Like they're low top Vans. So someone, like people are jumping and then someone is jumping and like clips my heel, flat tires me. And then I'm jumping around and people are moshing. So I essentially get like my heel clipped and then pushed to where my shoe just kind of slips off. Right? So I'm shoeless. And then it happens to the other foot. So now I'm like double Cinderella, no shoes anymore. And I don't see them anymore. They're completely gone. Right? And I'm like, whatever. Like, there's like, what am I going to do now? So I just keep moshing and shit. And at some point, I feel someone's in front of me jumping. Someone lands directly on my toe. And I feel it break in half. And this is also why no one would hear me screaming that this is a robbery, because I started screaming out in pain. Didn't matter. Like I'm in a fucking punk show and I'm screaming out at the top of my lungs because my toe's broken. And shortly after, someone lands on my other foot and on a different toe and breaks that one or fractures it. I don't think they broke. I think it got fractured, but didn't feel like a fracture. And I didn't think it was that bad. I just kind of thought like someone like landed on my foot really hard. So I keep hitting and eventually obviously I'm still in there, still shoeless. I keep getting my foot stepped on, both of my feet stepped on. And then eventually I'm like, I have to get out of here. Like I'm in so much fucking pain. I'm super drunk, but I'm in a lot of pain. So I come out and I just see Erica and she's holding all of our merch and drinks and shit. And I'm like, where's Andy? Because I'm expecting Raymond to not be there. I'm expecting him to be in the pit. Like I had to leave early because I have fucking broken toes. So I go up and I'm like, where's Andy? And she goes, she's in the pit. I'm like, what did you just say? She goes, yeah, she wanted to go in the pit. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, this is like a pretty hectic pit. And my girlfriend is very petite. So I'm like, and drunk. But I'm like, okay, whatever. I need to go find her now. So I have to go back into the pit with broken toes. So I go in, I try to find her. It's not happening. I go party a little bit, keep getting my fucking feet hit. And I crawl out. And I'm like now on the floor. Like I have to go wander off to the side. And I'm laying on the floor because I'm in so much pain. And a security guard comes up to me. And they're like, hey, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. I'll be fine. And they go, no, like, do you need like any water or something? And I'm like, sure, like, okay, like I'll have a water. And they just they have a water already and they give it to me. So I'm like, okay, cool, thank you. And they're like, did you have like too much to drink, or do you need any help? Do you need assistance? Get out of here. And I was like, oh, no. I'm not laying on the floor because I'm drunk. I like point at my feet and I'm like, I lost my shoes at some point and like my toes are broken. And they're like, what? Like do you need assistance with anything? And I'm like, no, it'll be fine. I'm just taking a break. Like my toes are broken. So I'm just kind of hanging out here, but I appreciate the water though. And they're like, oh, okay. I mean, you're sure you're okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And they just leave me alone. So I finish my water and I get up, try to get back in the pit, try to find everyone. Don't know where anyone goes. So eventually we all kind of get back together at some point. And, I at the end of the show, I wait and then the pit clears out. And in the very center of the pit are my Vans, perfectly tucked together. Like someone found them and put them right in the center and squared them up so they were perfectly like left foot, right foot next to each other. So God bless you, whoever that was. And I go out, I gather my shoes, I put them on. We go back to Raymond and Erica's hotel room, hanging out there for a little bit. They want to go bar hopping. I'm like, no, I'm drenched in sweat. So I shower there because our shower's a shithole. I shower there, come out, and me and Andy just go back to our hotel room. We go to sleep. The next day, we get up, we go get food. So I'm like now driving and walking around with toes that are broken. If you're watching this on YouTube or some sort of video platform, I will put up my broken toes right here. So my toes are like purple, and like you could tell which one's broken because it's like very dark purple. And this is like the day after. So this is only hours later, right? So we get up and we go and walk around and we go get food together in the morning. And like every step is like agony. And then I drive back from San Francisco with broken toes. So now that's my side of the story, right? The other side of that is little Andy. Where did she go? Where did she come from? Where did she go? Where did she come from? Andy, right? So the time where I come up and I'm like, hey, where did Andy go? Erica's like, she went in the pit. Apparently she did go in the pit and eventually comes back out at some point. And she is super drunk and needs to go pee. So at some point, she goes to the restroom. This is something she told me after, by the way. I didn't know. I don't think I even found out that night. I think it was like the next day or something, or like sometime after. Andy has to go to the restroom. So the whole, everyone in the entire venue's in the main like part of the venue now because the main band's there. So she goes out and is like looking around to see like where the bathroom might be, but there's nothing like obvious. She's looking, and there's like there's a venue in LA that's like this. Well, it doesn't matter if you're not from LA, it won't matter. But there's like stairs that go underneath kind of like the main area, and there's bathrooms on like the subfloor, right? So Andy is really drunk and tries to find the restroom and sees this huge spiral staircase and is like trying to get down, go to the restroom, come back up as quickly as possible. And in doing so, probably misses the first step and tumbles all the way down this huge spiral staircase, hitting probably every single angle and bone in her body, including her head, and gets to the bottom in a big crumpled heap, like, you know, in Family Guy when they fall on the floor. It's like that. She's at the bottom, and people are coming up to her like, hey, oh my God, are you okay? She's like laughing. She's like in hysterics because it's funny to her sober, but it's also, she's like super fucked up. So she's like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. And they're like, seriously, you hit your head like 14 times and landed on your neck. Like, are you sure you don't need an ambulance right now? She's like, nah, I just need to take a piss. And they're like, okay. Yeah, it's right here. And then she goes and she pees and she fucking leaves. That was it. That's where she went. So that was a little sidebar for Andy's little side B quest during what I was perceiving as my side A quest, you know? And that was how I broke my toes when I saw Idols. And that was the journey I made. That was how the difference between the first Idols show and the second Idols show. And that was episode 2 of At All Hours. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening or wherever you're taking this information in. I appreciate you guys listening in and joining me through this. I appreciate you also reminding me about the Idol story. I'll remember that, and I really appreciated it. Okay, I'm glad we got to talk about this stuff. But thank you guys for listening. Hopefully I see you again. Okay, bye.